I have been busy working on my book today, and I keep getting so many wonderful, loving comments about it from people saying that they can't wait until my book is published because they will immediately rush out to buy a copy. To others saying, "When the hell's your book coming out?" And to those people, I gotta say, I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. Let's see how long it takes you to write a book with a bibliography over 40 pages long. No, my book will not be including that whole 40-page long bibliography. I will, however, be including a select bibliography because it's so long and extensive. But if anyone wants to see the whole bibliography, once the book is published and once they have it in their hands, let me know, and I will absolutely make sure that you get a hold of that whole document. Um, oh, I recently ended up finally getting around to cleaning these. I have had them for years and years and years. Back in the 90s when I was in college, there was this little sort of a new age boutique in the college town that I was studying in. They sold candles and incense and music and things. And I often bought candles from them because they were the only ones I knew in the area that sold candles that smelled like rainwater, like a storm. And I really wish I could find those candles again because they smell amazing. And that store is long since out of business. But because I'm a Pisces, I bought this. And it originally had a gel candle in it that was sort of an aqua blue color. And it had a really sweet fragrance, but I never burned it. I just sort of kept them around, and they've sort of followed me from place to place over the years until I found them more recently, and I was just aghast by how disgusting they looked because, as you know, gel is tacky, and it had accumulated about a quarter of an inch of dust bunnies and fur and hair and all other sorts of debris. So it was pretty gross looking. And the gel had completely lost its color. It was sort of a murky dishwater brownish color. Not very pleasing to look at whatsoever. So I decided something had to be done. So I simply took these candles, filled a basin full of water, almost to the top of the candle jars itself, and I heated it until it was definitely simmering, just enough to really loosen up that gel from the sides. And I used my tongs, pulled them out of the boiling hot water, turned them over onto a paper towel, and the gel just came sliding out like slime. It was truly nasty. But oddly enough, the gel still had the original scent. So now I am left with these candle holders, and I do not know what to do with them. So I am open to any ideas that you can think of about what I should do with these candle holders. I'm not really sure that I want to turn them into candles again. Um, so if you maybe have a more creative idea, please let me know. That being said, I wanted to take a moment to recommend a couple of my favorite books on the subject of herbal magic that I would really like to see become a lot more popular than what they are, especially here in the U.S. One of these books, I'll give you that story in a minute, but the first book is um, Salem, or Laura Cabot's book, Salem Witches Herbal Magic. And as you can see, it's not that big. It's staple bound, but I have learned so much from this book. Even though I may not personally agree with some of the magical attributes she gives to some of the plants, it's still a fascinating book worth reading. In the insets, she often gives sort of a magic a way to use that herb in magic. She gives the planetary associations of each herb, the name and botanical name of the herb, as well as one or two magical uses for the herb. She definitely has her own system, which is fascinating to really get into, and she explores more in this book than I think she does in Power of the Witch. Just precisely how she goes about charging herbs. And I have owned this book for many years. As you can see, the cover is absolutely careworn, and I really need to take a piece of packing tape along the edge to make sure that it will see many years of future use. Because I would really hate to see the cover fall apart and the pages to follow soon after. But it is a treasured book in my library. This other book is by far my absolute favorite. I have owned it for many years. It is Anna Franklin and Susan Lamner's book, Herbcraft, a guide to the shamanic use of, a guide to the shamanic and ritual use of herbs. It is absolutely phenomenal. One of the best books that I can think of on the subject. It absolutely blows Scott Cunningham's Herbal out of the water. It 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 cuts anything Ellen Dugan's written to ribbons. It's simply one of the best books on the market today. If you've never read it, please try and hunt down a copy. It is just phenomenal. As you can see, my copy is, again, totally careworn, and I have taped up the spine. She devotes about a page, usually more, to discussion of each herb that she mentions, which is really something that you should want to see in a book. For years, I used to take this book with me to pagan potlucks, hoping that if my friends were to look through it, it might inspire them to want to buy a copy for themselves. In fact, I had said for years, as I was first working on my own book on herbal magic, that once my book is finished and available to the public, that I would be giving this book to a friend, passing it along to someone else who might get some good use out of it. But I don't think I can anymore. It would be like getting rid of a cherished friend. I've had it for so many years that it's just become a part of me that I don't have it within me anymore to get rid of it. So it is here to stay. Although if the publisher is watching, I would love a copy of this book to give away to some deserving viewer in the future. It isn't the most easy book to acquire in the U.S. I have checked prices for it on Amazon.com, and they're very expensive. I do know that the publisher is trying to work with Amazon to get them more copies of the book and in their American warehouses to try and reduce the horrible pricing that people in the U.S. are selling this book for. But aside from that, while you wait, you can actually buy copies of the book from Capall Bann's American distributor, which is J.D. Holmes. And this is a kind of like, they actually sell copies of this book. They are out of Edmonds, Washington. I will post a link to J.D. Holmes' website below this video. But, this book is my all-time favorite. I turn to it again and again and again, and I'm sure you will too. It's especially useful for those who want to know why a herb is used magically, so that they can be able to rationalize it themselves, or to be able to explain it to someone else. Those are questions that not many people really ask themselves anymore in the craft, and really, because of books like from publishers like Llewellyn, were really sort of when they really sort of spoon feed us um, occult knowledge like that, we're really sort of disincentivized from wanting to ask the larger questions that would really behoove us far greater in the long end. And finally, I don't personally recommend this book, but I wanted to give it a token nod for historical value because Folklore and Symbolism of Flowers, Plants, and Trees by Ernst and Johanna Lerner is really sort of a classic book that before Cunningham's book was published, this book was really one that was highly recommended and regarded in early occult stores. It was one that was particularly mentioned in the early occult catalogs, such as The Magical Child. But really, it's really sort of as succinct as Cunningham's book, but it's really more of a picture book with early sort of woodcut illustrations and sort of a small paragraph or two written about each plant. There's not much information. Certainly not very much in the realm of magic, but it deserves a token nod for that alone. And I hope everyone is doing wonderful. The holidays are upon us. Don't stress out. Drink lavender tea when you are. So until I feel like uploading something again, my peeps, keep calm and with John. Bed knobs and broomsticks. And if you ever see any glass doorknobs, buy them because they're very expensive. You can't find them anymore. And that's probably an average price, $10 for that.